Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm almost finished this other side of this. Now I measured it. This is the third time I have had to pull this out down to a certain spot, because each time I finished, this is the other side. The raglan seam was longer, it came further up, and I couldn't work out where I had gone wrong on the pattern. And I know now it's where I was doing the decreasing for the shape. It wasn't done on the very edge, it was done about this far in. This is the edge here, and it was done about here. And so when I had the decreasing on these stitches up here, well, with this wool in the colour and looking at it, I couldn't tell where I had decreased because of the pattern on it. I couldn't tell. I had to do 10 decreasing from here up to wherever I had to go up to get the number of stitches up there, and I just could not work out on it from the pattern. I couldn't see where I had decreased, and I hadn't been doing the number of decreasing I should have done. And so I'm very carefully doing it, and I'm pulling it apart everywhere to see where the two stitches are together and trying to work it out. Now I hope I get it right this time. It is hard to knit with this colour wool and the actual pattern, with it being moss stitch. When you're knitting a stitch over another stitch on moss stitch, it's hard to see where you've actually done it. But I'm hoping to get it right this time. Yeah, that pearl stitch there, and then knit two together at the end for the armhole. Well, that's the armhole shaping on that side, that's the neck shaping on that side, and as you can see, the pattern, it's a cable up the front, but the decrease, instead of being on the very edge here, it's on this edge on the inside of the cable where I have to work it out. And it is very, probably if I'd used a different colour wool, because I have knit this quite a few times for my boys when they were little, and I had no problem with it at all, but it must be this colour wool. But I did knit it in, you know, the creamy Aran colour for them when I knit it, so it was a lot easier to see what I was doing. But I'm hoping I've got it right this time anyway. But I'm just liking to thank everybody for all the well wishes that they gave to Derek on my little video I did yesterday, and I sent the video to him to save him hunting through YouTube, because I don't think he's been all that bothered about looking through. So I just sent the video on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, to him so he could see it for himself, to see how everybody's been wishing him well and on the road to recovery. And while I was talking to him, I did mention to him, I said, I hope you don't smoke, Derek, because if you do, give it up. Filthy habit, that's what I call it. And I remember, I only ever tried to smoke. I don't smoke myself, I never have done, but I did try when I was 15 years old. I'll tell you that little, I think I've told that in another story sometime, but I'll tell you it again. I was working at Rinken's Tea Factory at the time, on the dispatch department, I think. Yes, it was on the dispatch department, and it was round about Christmas time, and well, as usual we had a little, after I had finished our, I think it was a Saturday morning we had to work actually, but we stayed on the Saturday afternoon, and one or two drinks, you know, and a lot of the girls were all smoking in that way, and they were saying to me, do you smoke, Sheila? I said, no, I don't smoke. I said, my mum won't let us. He said, oh, don't take any notes, your mum, here, have a cigarette. So there I was, smoking away, and oh, this is okay, this, you know. So anyway, it was okay, you know, and I left the factory. You know, and he lived across the road from the factory at the time. And I just had to step out of the factory, walk over the road, and my house was at the top of the next street. And there was a shop on the opposite side of my street, and so I went in, bought myself 10 packet of 10 cigarettes, and there I was at home. There was nobody in because my mother was out shopping with my sister, I think, yes, my older sister Eleanor would have been married by then. So it would have been my younger sister Linda. My mother would have been out shopping with Linda, and my dad wasn't in, so well, I knew my dad was working away. He used to work away a lot. He was a steel erector and that, and I think he was working away. Yes, he was working away at the time, so I knew my dad wasn't going to be in. So I goes home and in the living room and lighting up the cigarettes, and one after the other, you know, and then I heard the door, my mother coming in and shouting up the stairs, "Sheila, are you in?" I says, "Yes." "Is your dad in?" "No." "Come, you've been smoking." Mum thought my dad had come home because she could smell the smoke, which I never realised. And you know, I got slapped and hit, and I think she chased me all over the house, keep trying to slap me and everything, and she says, "Don't you ever let me catch you with a cigarette in your hand again." And anyway, my dad was due home that day, and I had been smoking. I was starting to feel a bit sick, and my mum was doing the tea and that. She said to me, "You're going to eat this tea, you know, and I don't care how sick you are." My dad came in the door with my he worked with my uncle at the time. His youngest brother, my Uncle Freddie, came in the door, and my Uncle Freddie's looking at me and he says, "Sheila, you don't look very well." He says, "What's the matter, pet?" My mum says, "What's the matter?" He says, "She's dug in my bag, and oh," she says, "there's still some cigarettes in here. That's what's the matter with her." And she took a cigarette out and shoved it in my mouth. And, "Go on, smoke it. You're smoking every single cigarette in that packet," you know. And I think I was turning green by the end of the day, and I did actually vomit, and I had to go to bed and that. So I wasn't made to eat the tea my mother made, but that put me off ever smoking again, ever trying to smoke again. It wasn't the actual smoking, it was the thought of what I was going to get off my mother if I did try it again. But anyway, I think for about a month after that, she checked my bag every so often to make sure there was no cigarettes in the bag. She hated my dad smoking, but he he rolled his own, and he wouldn't give it up no matter what. He lived till a ripe old age and said, "Well, it has he got old." He says, "The only pleasure I've got," he says, "I'm not giving it up now, you know." He says, "Not at my age." But my husband also smoked. My husband had asthma from a very young age. From about 2 or 3, I think he said, his mother told me. But he smoked. You know, like rebellious teenagers and all that, what you do with things that time. He started smoking and couldn't give it up. And he smoked until he did have a stroke himself. He had a heart attack first, but he did have a stroke. And this was in the afterwards, and this was in his early 40s. And he did give up smoking now and again. I remember we were out one time and we bumped into some friend of his. He had given up smoking for 5 years. Bumped into some friend, we're just talking, and unintentionally he didn't even realise he did it, but his friend just offered him a cigarette and he took it and started smoking. And I'm looking at her and I'm saying, "What you doing?" And that was it, he started smoking again. But he did give it up. I made him give it up later on, but mind, he did live till he was 68, so you can get over strokes and things like that if you look after yourself. And now I brought up 3 boys, and there's only one of them smoked. The 2 oldest ones, we never ever said to them, "You can't do this or you can't do that." We never ever said that. You can't smoke. I said to them, "It's up to you. It's in your own interest," I said, "money-wise and health-wise." I says, "Not to smoke." Well, the 2 oldest ones took notice of that, but the younger one didn't. But I didn't know he was smoking. And he had a friend come to the house one day, and me and my husband were sitting in the kitchen downstairs. Well, my husband was sitting in the kitchen, I think I was making tea or something like that, and my son's bedroom was directly above the kitchen. And we were sitting there, and my husband was sitting there, and he's looking at the window, and I keep seeing wisps of smoke. Well, we lived the back of our house outlooked some bushes and things, and there was a scrapyard behind that, and I often used to see cars that got burnt out, you know, at this near this scrapyard and all that. So whenever we saw anything like that smoke, we used to go up into my son's bedroom and look out the back. It was the back bedroom window, and we could see over by the scrapyard whether there was anything on fire over there. So I went upstairs to have a look out of the bedroom window, and I opened the door without knocking, went straight in. There was the two of them, him and his friend. I had two, you know, those windows, there was a big bit in the middle and the two on the side that opened up. The two windows were opened up, and the two of them were sitting on the window ledge, smoking away and blowing the smoke out the window. And that's what the smoke me and my husband had seen when we were sitting downstairs. So I said, well, you've been caught now, haven't you? And he said to me, quite recently actually, Ian, his name is, he said to me, I wish I'd taken notice of you and me dad, Mum, you see, say, I can't give this up now. That was just a little bit about why it's better not to ever start smoking. So I am going to finish this as best I can, what I'm doing here. I have got a little bit of my own. I'll show you what I've been doing else up to. That's the front. The front, I got a little bit more of that one done. And if anybody's following this, all you need to do, the little video I put up where I done the back, is you just need to follow the back up to when you get to the neck, like I've told you before, and then I'll show you the rest when I get that far. I've done a little bit of that one and a little bit of this one. It's getting longer, but I was at my granddaughter's yesterday and I did the yellow one. I did a little bit of this one in the morning, but then I found a mistake I had made, so I left it until this morning. So I did a little bit of this, and then I did the yellow one when I was at my granddaughter's, and I did a little bit of this when I came home last night. So hopefully I'm going to get this one done. I'm knitting this morning, so if I get the side finished, I'll get onto the sleeves, and then it's coming up to the home run. It will be finished soon. So that's my little bit for today. So thumbs up and subscribe, and bye for now.